So this week we haven't really had that much news going off. So if I just come over to this week, so this is next week. Cool. So so yeah, man. Yeah, what's it called? Let me just I keep trying to find a way to put a put the thing on so that I don't have to keep letting people in, but Zoom just doesn't want it that way. So but yeah, so obviously this week, what Tuesday, we had core PPI and PPI come out. Obviously we've spoken since then, but just a brief rundown for anyone that wasn't there on any of the calls. We had obviously PPI come out on Tuesday. We had PPI month over month stay the same at 0.5 percent, revised down from 0.5 0.7%, should I say. We had core PPI month over month, which came lower, came down to 0.1% from 0.3. That was actually revised down from 0.5 from the last reading that came out. So that's the month over month readings, right? And obviously PPI year over year came out higher. This is obviously non-core. So the reasons for PPI coming up from 3.4% to 4.0% was mainly because of energy prices, naturally, because obviously the war was still obviously in effect those times. I'm going to speak briefly about the war shortly as well. So it was goods prices rose and then obviously energy prices rose, right? Those two things were what caused the PPI reading to come up higher. Now, obviously, we all know the difference between PPI, non-core, and core is that food and energy are left out of the core reading, giving us more of a stable reading. And we actually saw that core PPI's reading just stayed the same at 3.8%, right? But it was actually revised down from 3.9%. So what I've kind of gathered, obviously, as we spoke about on Wednesday, that it is obviously inflation is cooling, but it's still elevated, right? Obviously, I say cooling apart from obviously oil and food, right? So overall, outside of those two metrics, inflation was cooling, if you will. And when I say that, I mean inflation was going up at a slower rate than what it was previously. But obviously, oil and products are obviously keeping it elevated right now. So, we did obviously mention and allude to the fact that if the war was to continue, then obviously it could mean that oil prices could continue to rise. And if the war doesn't continue and they come up with some sort of, not ceasefire, but peace, if you will, then obviously we could potentially see oil prices come lower, and obviously that could be the sort of metric that kind of helps inflation to obviously bring its way down. Now, following on from obviously from the news and what's been happening this week, we did see obviously a ceasefire was put in place. And during that ceasefire, obviously Iran opened up the Strait of Hormuz for like what a day, I think it was, or something like that. And then upon that taking place, obviously we've now seen the Strait of Hormuz now get closed off again. And from what I read, it was due to Iran. Well, essentially, the US didn't remove the blockade apparently, and obviously Iran had been shooting at ships that were trying to come through the Strait of Hormuz, and obviously one thing led to another. The agreement was not carried out or not followed through, should I say. And as a result, they're beefing again, right? And what I find interesting was that there was some very suspicious buys and sells that took place. One, obviously, when the ceasefire was obviously, put in place and obviously the Strait of Hormuz was opened up, there was a large amount of sell orders on oil. And then obviously the ceasefire, not ceasefire, the Strait of Hormuz was open. And then there was a large amount of oil. No, there was a large amount of stocks. I can't remember now. I'm misremembering it now. But yeah, there were some questionable orders that were filled before that. Yeah, of course, naturally, no surprise, right? This is like the highest, what's the word? This is the highest echelon of market manipulation. This is market manipulation at its finest, which we obviously tend to see a lot when Donald Trump is in power, right? If you remember back to the last, his last time in power, it was the same thing, right? It was a lot of, market manipulation. What I will say about Donald Trump, brilliant marketer, but he makes some very silly decisions. And what I love the most, right? I don't know if anyone noticed it. There was a tweet that came out. I'll see if I can try and find it on here. Uh, Man, it's so annoying. I can't find it. I'll try and find it. But essentially, Donald Trump was obviously talking about, Iran and this and that or whatever. And he was saying that, oh, like they've closed off the strait again, but the US had already closed it. And I was like, well, no, big man. That's not how it worked because Iran had already closed the strait. And if you guys remember, Donald Trump was saying, open the strait, you effing crazy bastards, or whatever it was that he was saying. So I love how Donald Trump makes it seem as if the US have everything in control. It's like, I don't really think that's the case. But obviously he has to make it look like they are because they're the big boys, right? No one can play with them. So it's interesting. But yeah, man, like what I do think can take place now is I think we potentially could see oil prices come higher if they don't come up to an agreement. Because after all, the Strait of Hormuz is closed, right? So once again, so it's like it's the same thing as before. Like if oil can't pass through the Strait of Hormuz, supply shock takes place. And every time a supply shock takes place, what happens? Inflation usually will, start to climb. It's obviously mainly when it comes to oil because oil is something that is not going to be stopped. It's not gonna People aren't gonna stop needing oil. So it's something that, regardless of whether the prices are high or not, it's still going to get bought, which is going to cause inflation to continue higher. So I also find it pretty interesting as well. Um, he plays Mr. Victim in every scenario. Honestly, that man is I don't even know what to call him. I don't even know what to call him. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's Donald Trump, right? So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, obviously, where we've seen that the Strait of Hormuz is obviously closed back up again, it could be the catalyst for indices to make their ways lower, maybe. We are obviously due a correction as well, which we're going to speak about shortly. And obviously, I had a couple of people ask about, what's going on with indices and why are we seeing all-time highs being created. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't I wasn't really expecting that. I never expected it. I never expected it, man. I'll be honest, because obviously where inflation is obviously it's climbed higher. It's like okay, cool. We were waiting in that supply area for a little while, waiting for obviously sellers to step in, and they just didn't step in, and they just continue not to step in and continue not to step in. Yeah, those sales are looking juicy until they weren't, right? So, yeah, now that we've obviously created all-time highs, I definitely don't want to be buying in this scenario right now. So what I do want to be doing is looking for opportunities to sell, which we'll obviously speak about shortly. But getting back to the reason as to why we've been seeing, in indices obviously creating all-time highs. Well, ES and NQ, maybe not YM just yet, but was because so to my understanding, if we go over to Earnings Hub, right? We saw obviously we did speak about this on Sunday, but we saw a lot of major financial institutions, if you will, reporting their earnings, right? So if we go back to this is next week. So if we go back to over here, we had Goldman Sachs. They had some pretty strong earnings. We had JP Morgan that also had some pretty strong earnings. Citibank. Yeah, Citibank also had strong earnings. So as we look across the board, we had a lot of strong earnings come out, right? And as a result, I think that's been part of the catalyst as to what's caused, indices to make their ways higher. We have also obviously upon seeing that PPI data come out, it didn't come out higher, like as high as what was anticipated. So I think that could be part of it as well. So yeah, I think it was mainly those two things and some market manipulation as well. So I do believe that they are the reasons as to why we're seeing the price action that we're seeing currently. However, like I said earlier, I'm still not really willing to entertain the buy side just yet. I'll be honest, because inflation is still elevated, and it's like I don't really want to play against that if I don't have to. So this week, unless anyone has caught anything, for me, I know it's been pretty quiet. It's been pretty damn quiet on my side this week and last week. And this is just, this is some of the reality of trading. Like I know people on social media try and make it out as if it's like, oh, trading, you're making money every single week and there's always trades to take and blah blah blah. But it's just not. really the case. I've got some hay fever wipes here, so bear with me. Yeah, because hay fever's been kicking my backside this past couple of weeks. I'll be honest with you. But oh yeah. Apologies, ladies and gents. But yeah, what was I saying? I was saying about yeah, just the reality of trading. Like, please don't be that person that's on social media thinking that there's something wrong with you because you didn't take a trade this week. You know, I think it's the mark of a mature trader to be able to withstand times where there's market uncertainty, if you will, and not just throw themselves into the markets. Because you have to remember, right? The only reason why people feel a way about not trading is because you've been conditioned. Think about it, right? If you think about how what type of jobs most people get when they hit 16, 17, you know, they get a pay by the hour job and you're silently being indoctrinated, you know, people in our one-to-ones, we talk about this all the time. If you're that silent indoctrination is teaching you what? If you're getting paid by the hour, if you work 10 hours, you get, let's say you get paid, I don't know, £8 an hour or £10 an hour, right? You work 10 hours, you get £100. However, if you work 6 hours instead, maybe due to you've got, you know, personal responsibilities or you're ill that week or whatever, then you only get paid £60. So what are you being taught? The more I do, the more I get. The more I do, the more I get. Most people, you're going to be working what you a pay by the hour job from the ages of what 17 to like what at least 20, 21 maybe, until you're taught to come out of university and get a real job, right? Quote unquote. Now it's like if you think about it, from 17 to what to 21, that's 4 years of silent indoctrination, right? And if you try and come to the market with that same thing, of course you're going to be like, okay, shit, what's going on? There's not a trade to take. Oh, there's something wrong. I need to do more to get more. It's not the case over here, and that doesn't work over here when it comes to forex. So, for those of you that were trying to force trades this week, you know, if you were aware of it and you become aware of it, great, because it could be worse. You could think you did something right and you really didn't. You just forced an entry. So kudos to those of you that have realized, okay, maybe I might have been a bit aggressive here. Kudos to those of you that maybe did take a trade this week where there wasn't really opportunities to do so. Um, so yeah, let me just check the chat real quick. Guess you could call me new, but this recent all-time high stuff seems a bit dodgy. I mean, yeah, a little bit. And when I say dodgy, dodgy against my plan, because my plan is if the indices, if the fundamental narrative is bearish, I sell. If the fundamental narrative is bullish, I buy. So if the fundamental narrative right now is bearish, and I'm not seeing that bearish narrative play out technically, then to me it is a little bit like, yeah, it's a little bit like it's a little bit dodgy according to my plan. For some other people, it might be great, but I only know how to be responsible for my plan and following what I know how to do. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, yeah, but that's a fact on the market moves. What the fundamentals? 100%, bro. So it's like that we're trading market facts. So if the facts are not lining up with the technicals, I know for me the fundamentals mean more to me than technicals because the fundamentals tell me what direction to trade. So if the fundamentals are telling me something and I'm doing the opposite, I can only look to get spanked. Do you know what I mean? Unless I'm being very, 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 very aggressive with my profit taking and I'm reducing my risk. But then I ask myself, well, is it really worth it? Because I still have to journal the trade. I still have to manage the trade. I still have to, that it still eats up space in my brain where it's like, okay, cool. It's taking up space in my brain and it's like, I don't really know if it's really worth it. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, cool. And if I take the loss as well, I'm gonna be pissed with myself because I have to go and journal. Okay, why did I lose this trade? Yeah, I took a trade that was lower probability. Or why? Because I wanted to be in the market, or why? And then I have to do that inner work and look in, and it's uncomfortable sometimes. I'd rather just not. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Also, bro, have you noticed any difference with these glasses? Do you know what? Yeah, it's interesting because I've been using these glasses now for I want to say around about a month and a half. And I have noticed that when I'm sleeping, my sleep is deeper. It's really interesting, right? So as a result, I've just kept wearing them if I'm being honest. I usually wear them from about 7 o'clock to when I go to bed, really. So yeah, man, you're using them too. Yeah, whoosh, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, they have helped me personally. Some people say that it doesn't help them, but I mean, it's been helping me. Your sleep has been much better. Okay, sick. I didn't even know a lot of you guys are using it. So yeah, solid, man. Solid. But yeah, let me double check the chat one more time because I think another message. Why? What glasses? They're blue light blocking glasses. So blue light. I can't remember if it's raised or lower, but it basically affects your melatonin. And um, when your melatonin is high, correct me if I'm wrong here because I always get the two mixed up. When melatonin is high, it makes you sleep less deeper. And obviously, if you wear the blue light blocking glasses, it can help the amount of blue light that's coming in from your phone. You can also use I think depending on what phone you've got, but on iPhone, I know you have this night shift mode, so that also helps as well. And you also have well, I've got it on my laptop as well, so you can do those two things as well. But for me, if I do that and wear the blue light blocking glasses, then yeah, I've been finding that it helps me. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, to be fair, all throughout the day, yeah, man. Do you know what I mean? Because sleep, like I asked ChatGPT, right? I know if we're going off topic, we're going to bring it back shortly. But I asked ChatGPT like a few weeks back. I said, "What's the biggest bang for the buck thing I can do to improve my health?" And out of everything that it could have told me, it was sleep. So I said to myself, "Okay, cool. What things can I do to improve my sleep?" Some of them were of the likes of not being on your phone. I think it was up 2 to 3 hours before bed. Getting to sleep at a good time, obviously making sure that you get your 7, 8 hours sleep. Um, they were the main sort of things really. And obviously the blocking glasses were one of the things that came up with as well. So I'm so studious. Like if I know that something can help me immediately, I'm gonna buy it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna grab some now off Amazon. Yeah, yeah, off Amazon. That's why I bought mine. So yeah, best advice for sleepers: don't have babies. I mean, you could do that as you could do that as well, or be so breaded that you got yourself a flipping maid and a night nanny or whatever it's called. Do you know what I mean? You could go that way as well. So yeah, man, they say right, I'm going to bed now. Night nanny, your turn. Do you know what I mean? You know, and that's the aim, right? As soon as I get out of this country, I'm definitely hiring one of those, bro. I'll tell you that right now. Um, but yeah, man. Okay, cool. So, yeah, helping sleeping before bed. Oh my God, that is a hack, bro. It didn't actually say it on ChatGPT, but I do that like every night, basically. Um, so yeah, and I tend to do that on a book. I don't tend to do that with like audio books or like Kindle stuff. I just like old school, just open a book and read it. But yeah, man, let's get back into it. So obviously last week, like I mentioned, well, this week should I say, we did have earnings obviously high across the board, which is obviously part of the reason as to why I think we did see indices make their ways higher. Next week, we have a lot of earnings again. So we've got a lot of earnings. We've got a lot of earnings. GE Vernova. I don't know the difference between these two. I'm gonna have to search that. We've got Amex. We've got the Tesla. We have Intel, P&G. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of earnings coming out this week. So I'm definitely going to be paying attention to these as well. Hopefully we get some less strong earnings, if you will. But for me, like I'm definitely going to be paying attention to this because if we do start to see some weaker readings coming out, especially where we're all-time highs as well on these indices, it could be, a reason for us to start getting, these rebalancing plays. And obviously, upon doing so, we get our distributions and redistributions, then we can look to take some trades, some sales this week. And obviously, at least then they'll be more in line with the fundamentals currently. So, and obviously the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is closed, we might even see some weakness in the stock market anyway. So, yeah, man. Again, like I said earlier, I'm not really trying to be taking sales this week, if I'm just being very real with you guys. So, hopefully, we can get those sales. But has anyone got any questions, fundamentally speaking? Let me also check the COTs as well. COTs. So, COT trade and stuff. Cool. So, we look at the dollar. What's been going on with the dollar? Dollar. So yeah, we're net long, which makes sense, I guess, because again, inflation is still elevated. So I do want to see some buyer pressure step in as well. What have we got on indices? S&P 500, even the S&P, net short. Okay. Nasdaq, net short as well. No, net long. Okay, interesting. Dow Jones, net short. Okay, so it's still net short across ES and YM, and Nasdaq is obviously is it's not showing us exactly what we want to see, but yeah. On trading stuff, what are we what are the treasuries and rate? Treasuries and rate. What do you mean, my bro? What are the treasuries and rate? Scroll down. Oh, okay, I get what you mean. Okay, cool. So 30-day federal funds. I don't actually really look at this, if I'm being honest, my bro. But we're net short on this. Uh, so 2 year notes. Damn. Net short. 5 year net short and 10 year. Yeah, net short. Okay, interesting. So yeah, yeah, it's looking real interesting, man. Yeah, exactly that. So yeah, and obviously, I want to see the yields obviously continue to make their ways higher. They were accumulating last time I checked. So yeah, not to be extra, could we use that in our fundamental bias? We could, but for me, I just look at the dollar. Like, yeah, you could use it. For me, the less I have to look at, for me personally, the better. Um, just because for me, if things become less simple, I start to like my effectiveness starts to come lower, like starts to come down, and I just know that about myself. So I kind of just keep it as simple as I can, and that's why I mainly look at the dollar, and then obviously for the yields, I'll just look at those on the charts if that makes sense, you know. But yeah, that's just me. That's just me. So I don't know if I will use it personally. But you can. Yeah, there's no rule book that says you can't. And can it help? Potentially. But I find for me the like just looking at the dollar alone is pretty helpful. Because again, the COTs I don't really use for my fundamental narrative, like in terms of it's more for me confluence rather than something that's directional bias setting. Do you know what I mean? I'm always gonna look at the numbers more than anything else. Does that make sense, my bro? So so yeah, man. But cool. Any questions? Any other questions about fundamentals, macroeconomics, things that can potentially move the needle this week in regards to fundamentals? Let me know if there is anything. Now is your time to shine, ladies and gents. If not, we can get into the technicals. Do you have anything next week? Great question, actually. I don't think I checked next week yet. Yes, so we've got core retail sales. We've got Fed Chair designate Walsh testifying. So essentially what this means, so to my understanding, is that he has to basically testify in front of is it Congress? I believe it's Congress, if I'm not mistaken. Which basically like he's basically going to be talking about his views on like basically talking about how he views interest rates, how he views, inflation, and essentially what is interesting about these is that he will speak about his ideologies towards, interest rates and so on and so forth, but we can actually use that for clues. So if he's more hawkish, then that will basically be more bullish for the dollar, right? And obviously, if he's more dovish, then it'll be more bearish. And what that essentially means is, if he's more hawkish, he's going to be more in favor for higher rates. He's going to be more wanting to tackle inflation, Whereas if he's dovish, he more wants to stimulate the economy, if that makes sense. So obviously, I've got no idea which one he is. So I'm definitely going to, read into this in detail. But we have got that on Tuesday evening at 3 p.m. Obviously, like I said, we've got core retail sales, so that will be interesting. If we see this number come down, it can help us potentially see a retracement on indices, definitely, because all retail sales is essentially what like our company's selling more, they're selling less. Does that make sense? So we have that on Tuesday. So Tuesday really and truly is the main day that I'm going to be most, sort of interested in. Let me check on the orange file because I see something last week and I could be wrong, but has the unemployment claims has been deranked to an orange folder. Because I was looking at this, I was like, hold on a minute, where is where's that? So yeah, we've got unemployment claims coming out on Thursday as well, which could be interesting. If there's a mad reading, again, I don't know if there will be, but that will be interesting indeed. But yeah, really and truly, yeah, just retail sales, core retail sales. Um, and that's about it, really, if I'm being honest. And obviously, Fed chair designate Walsh will be testifying on that day. So yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of a light week. Kind of a light week. It's interesting. When we have the heavier weeks, then there weren't no moves. So maybe if, if it's a lighter week, then maybe we see some moves, man. Who knows? But I'm definitely gonna keep my eyes peeled on Tuesday though, definitely. So I think the week after that though, it's gonna be pretty pretty heavy, if I'm not mistaken. The week after that, we've got yeah, BOJ policy rate. We've got interest rate for the dollar, FOMC. We've got FOMC press conference. We've got PCE again. We've got unemployment claims. Okay, on here it's not shown as an orange folder for some reason. Forex Factory is very interesting. Put it like that. Employment cost index, quarter on quarter. Okay, interesting. So yeah, not this week coming, but the week after that is going to be some pretty heavy data coming out. So yeah, but next week's not that crazy. So yeah, let's see, man. Let's see. But all right, cool. So let's move into some chart stuff, shall we? So let's start off on the dollar. So DXY, what am I looking at? So we are, if I come up to the daily for a minute, we have obviously come back into demand as we've been knowing. Well, let me go to the 4 hour actually, make things a little bit easier. So we've come into the 4 hour, for English, Jesus Christ, we've come into our demand area, should I say? And as we've come into the demand area, we have obviously started to accumulate. Now, when we last spoke on Wednesday, so where was Wednesday? Wednesday. So Wednesday we were round about here. So we were just building out. We were in phase B of our accumulation, right? Since then, obviously we had, well, before that we had obviously one buy order in here. Cool. So we had one buy order, we had two buy orders, and then we didn't really have much else after that until Thursday, when we actually built out our third buy order, right? So we've got one, two, three drives. We obviously have our final manipulation. So I'm waiting to see if we can break this high. If we can break this high, if we can, then yeah, I'm gonna be looking to buy inside of here, right? So that's what I'm gonna be looking at. So let me just clear out some of this stuff and make it easier on my eyes right now. Jesus. Yeah, so we can break this high. I've got my alert up here. I think Euro USD or Euro futures actually broken this. But obviously I'm mainly looking at what the dollar's doing and I will trade EU or GU based on what the dollar's doing. So because we haven't quite broken this high just yet, I'm not very quick to say, yeah, like buyers are definitely in, we've definitely completed the accumulation yet because obviously we haven't. So so yeah, I just want to see something like this, break the high, come back, and obviously give me the macro in here. Right? If we can get that, then yeah, I'm in. Either A, we get that, or maybe we don't come into the 1580, and maybe instead we get the reaccumulation instead. You know? And if we do get that, then I'll just play that instead. And obviously we can take that higher. Now, what I don't want to see, what I would not like to see, um, is if we break this high and then just continue lower. Because at that point, then obviously just that tells me that there's no buyers left in the market, if that makes sense. I do believe that we could be inside of a larger accumulation as well, where we've got one, two, maybe we haven't really got a third, to be honest. So I do think that we could potentially be just be getting an ugly, where's my, here we go, an ugly larger accumulation as well. So, obviously long term, I do want to see this high get taken. So if we do get something in here, then yeah, I'll be looking to take that. So that should be pretty interesting. And it's given me hope that we potentially could get some sales in EU and GU next week. Because indices, I don't know, especially after this week's shifty actions, bro. I'm not too sure right now. So let me just put this on here. Cool. Is anyone looking at the dollar any different? Let me check the chat. Overall bias on the dollar. Yeah, so my overall bias on the dollar is I'm still bullish on the dollar. Reason being, again, inflation is still elevated, which is the most important metric, right? For me, right now, until we start to see a trend of inflation making its way back lower, I'm gonna continue being a buyer on the dollar. Yeah, can I send a chance as well? Yeah, 100, my bro. I'll send them. 100, I'll do that. So yeah, my bro, that's my bias on the dollar. So it looks to me, and obviously because I'm bullish on the dollar from a fundamental perspective, and we've come into demand, and we're now seeing that we are building out this accumulation down here. If we do complete it, we're bullish fundamentally, and we've seen price come into demand and print out a clean accumulation. That those two things for me, let the bias commence. Do you know what I mean? So that's my bias. What's your bias, my bro? What's your bias? Is it the same, or you looking at things a little bit differently? What's your stance right now? Let me know. In the meantime, let me put this in the groups. Right, where is this? Let me just move this out the way. Telegram, where you at? Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. So just put this in here in the chart section. And let me put this in this chart section. Boom. Okay, cool. So yeah, let me just come back to the charts. Okay, let me clean all this up. This is going crazy. Move this over here. Boom. There we go. Got there in the end. Okay, sick. The chat. Where is the chat? Yeah, EM. If you're seeing anything differently, feel free to let me know, my bro, yeah. Or my sis. I don't know who's male and female on here, so yeah. But yeah, so that's the dollar in a nutshell. What's going on with the dollar? Start that's the dollar with the euro, should I say? Exactly the same thing, if I'm being honest. Like right now, obviously we've seen that we have got this distro up here. And like I was mentioning earlier, we have obviously broken that low of I think was it the 16th? What's the date today? 16th? It's the 19th today, so was it the 16th that we broke the low of? I think it was that 16th at 6 p.m. or something like that. Yeah, around about here. So we've broken this on Euro USD, but we haven't broken it on the dollar just yet. So we are seeing a little bit of divergence. But I am looking at this whole thing potentially as, a larger distro as well, where we just got a distro in the spring. Even up here, if we see, we've got, one, two, three manipulation with a distro in it as well. So we get that break. Again, it's everything's kind of screaming sellers to me on the euro right now. So for me, as where price currently is, we can see price. Let me just get rid of all this as well. Just draw it again. If we can see price retrace at the same time as what the dollar's doing, then yeah, great. So I kind of want to see something like this. We can get something in here. then that will be fantastic, right? Obviously, again, only if the dollar's showing signs of buyers. If we're not seeing that, I'm not involved. Yeah. Anyone got any questions? Anyone seeing anything any different? Either that, or if we see price not give that deeper retracement up to the 1580, maybe we get something like this. I know my redistros are ugly, so don't come for me in the chat. But yeah, maybe we get something like this. They're the only two things that are really going to get me into sales right now, if I'm being honest. Now, at the same time, I don't want to see price coming into like this, for example, and starting to accumulate. I know this is not really like it looks more like the start of my distro than a reaccum, but I don't want to see price hovering around here. I just want to see like just slice through this thing like a hot knife through butter, you know? And which we will see if we do see that continued strength on the dollar as well. So yeah, what questions you guys got? Mel, bro. Yeah, okay, cool. My bad. Where am I targeting? What on EU? So on EU, target wise, I'll be looking to target all of these lows down here, my bro. And we have actually got, some liquidity down here as well. So it'd be good to see all of this get taken out. On the dollar, I'll just come back to the dollar real quick. On the dollar, if we do see that accumulation in here, we see that accumulation in here. So let's say we get something like this. So we break the high, come in, print the accum, then yeah, look like for my swing target, definitely going to be looking to see if I can hold up to here. Now, does that mean I'm going to be holding my whole volume up to here? Absolutely fucking not. It is the mark of a fool to try and hold full volume from their target to all the way up here. If they're, I don't even know what the risk to reward would be, up here. But let's say it's a one to, for argument's sake, let's say it's a 1 to 20, for example. I'm not trying to hold full volume to the 1 to 20. I can tell you that now. Like I'm going to have areas where I'm going to be taking partials. So if I've got, let's say I've got my entries here and I've got my main targets up here. And let's say I've got four targets, right? So I've got one, two, three, and then obviously my fourth target, I might take 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. It just depends on how you want to manage it, where you are for the week, where you are for the month, and so on and so forth. But for me, I'll be doing it something like what I just showed you on there. So when I'm halfway to my target, I want to be out roughly, 50, maybe even 60% out of the trade, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense, my bro. How would you manage this trade, bro? With TPs. Yeah. Hold on, remember how I showed on WhatsApp about validation of distros. Do we need to look for it on higher time frames like daily, or does it make sense to just keep a lookout on? Okay, cool. So let me answer Casper's one first, and I'm gonna get to that. Yeah. So how would you manage this trade? So good question. So for me, first thing I want to do is obviously let's say for example we do break this high and we come in and we accumulate, right? Once we reaccumulate, right? I'm obviously gonna go do this. None of you guys can hear my daughter. She's I don't even know what she's doing. Give me 2 seconds, man. You okay, mommy? Night, baby. You going to bed now? How can kiss you then? Quick, 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 quick. There's someone called. Quickly, 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 quickly. All right. Love you, yeah? All right. Quickly. Love you, okay? Hug. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. You're not gonna give me a hug, right? Okay. All right. Love you, okay? I'll see you in the morning. Love you. Close the door behind you, yeah? See how my daughter just came and crashed the whole party. Baby, wrong way. Baby, take that off your head whilst you're walking through the door. You're gonna hurt yourself, princess. Close this door for me. Thank you, mommy. Love you. All right. Sorry, guys. My daughter came to say goodnight to me. So what's it called? Yes, how am I managing this, right? So first things first. So let's say, for example, we get something like this, right? So at this point, what I'm going to do, well, it's probably going to be on the seconds really. But down here at this point, I'm going to wait for my queue. Obviously, let's say I'm entering. Let me draw this a little bit cleaner. Okay, so break the high, let's have a little distro, redistro, so on and so forth, right? At this point, let's say we get 1, 2, 3, manipulation, break, right? Cool. And then so we get a little distro up here, we come in. At this point, my entry is going to be somewhere inside of here, for example, right? So at this point, once we come in, if we get a if we've got a distro up here, and bam, we've now just created a reaccum. So at which point I can move my stop loss from down here to down here. Yeah. And obviously I'm going to be reduced risk at that point, pay myself the risk, whatever, right? Now from this point, I'm most likely gonna have a step out for a minute. I'm most likely gonna have a target up here, right? I'm gonna be looking at what happens when price makes its way in here as well, right? So I'm gonna have a target here. I'm also going to have a target. Let me see, because we've got this is a whole distribution. So I might have a target in here as well. Take some partials, and then obviously that'll be my end target. And at this point, so let's say I've taken, 25%, 25%, 25%, I'm out 75%. At this point, I might decide to take 15% and leave another 10%, just in case price wants to make its way that way higher. Because we step out for a minute, we're accumulating out of this previous reaccum. So we could, if we are going to continue this larger redistribution or reaccumulation, sorry, distro, shakeout, accum, break. So I could try and hold, for the almighty buy on the dollar and just keep riding it up until either A, we get to this high, or B, if fundamentals change before then, which they very well might. Does that make sense? So um Caspar, I know that was a long answer to a short question, my bro, but does that answer your question, my brother? Let me know, my bro. Remember how I asked you on WhatsApp about validations of distros? Do we need to look for it on a higher time frame, like daily, etc., or does it make sense to just keep a lookout on? I mean, yeah, bro. So, like, for example, let's say we have a yeah, cool, perfect, my bro. Um, so let's say, for example, let's say we're on the daily, right? Up here, let's say I've got a distro, right? And let's say, I've got a redistro. It might not look at like the most clean cut, perfect, sexy redistro, but I'm on a daily time frame, bro. So am I really going to be looking for that on here? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to be waiting to see what price does when it comes into the POI. Is that what you meant, my bro? Like on the higher time frames, I'm not going to be as anal about, okay, is this like is this super what's it called? Is this super valid? Have we got the three drives? Have we got the, do you see what I'm saying? Because I'm on such a higher time frame, it's not like I'm not going to be entering off that. It's just gonna I'm going to be using it as a POI, because by the time if I'm trying to take an entry off of this, bro, my stop loss is going to be like 200 million pips, bro, which means my risk to reward down to here probably going to be a 1-to-1, and I'd rather beg on a corner for that. Do you know what I mean? For that kind of bread, you know. So I hope that answers your question, my bro. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll clarify further. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. Charts, yeah. So I'm definitely gonna check this out for you, my bro. I'm just gonna get through the rest of the market outlook, and then I'm gonna bang out all of these, yeah. So by the way, if anyone else got any charts I want to look at, feel free to feel free to let me know. Yeah. But yeah, so on the dollar, that's how I'm gonna be looking at it. What was I just on? I was on, what did I just go through previously? I think it was the euro, right? So went through dollar. Okay, yes, I haven't gone through euro. I haven't sent you guys the euro chart just yet. But yeah, essentially, I'm going to be waiting for price to come either back into the distro up here. So I'll be looking at something like this. Again, I'm going to be waiting first for the dollar to show me evidence of buyer stepping in terms of completing that completing that accumulation. If we do complete the accumulation, then I can start looking for the sells on EU. I'm not really going to be too convinced until we do, if I'm honest. So yeah, either that, yeah, failing that, if we see the redistro, then obviously I'll play that instead. Yeah, but like I said earlier, I do not want to see price coming into this and starting to show evidence of bias. I'm going to be a little bit. I know there's no manipulation, but still, I'm not like I don't want to see buyer stepping in here. Yeah, I'm not going to be buying off this, of course, naturally, but I still don't want to see buyers coming in. I know that much, right? So we can get an immediate mitigation. Great. If we don't and we get a redistro and we get the entry like that, I'll still take it, provided we're not at the 50% of this just yet. I hope that makes sense, right? So let me send this to you guys in the groups, and then we can get into the rest of the market outlook. All right, here we go. Cool. So put this in here, put this in here. Cool. So next. Pound, pound. 6B. Cool. So similar story, if I'm being honest. Like we can get an immediate mitigation of this here because we haven't quite broken the low down here, right? So it looks to me as pound is lead euro is leading out of these two. But again, I'm not doing anything until the dollar shows me what I need to see. So we can break this low. Let me actually put an alert on here as well. Let me put an alert on this. Cool. So I've got my alert on here. So we can break this low, come back up into 50.80. Then yeah, I'll be looking to take something off like a micro in here if we do get that. If we don't, failing that, and we just print the redistro instead, something like this, then I'll play that instead. Yeah, again, I must reiterate, only if what? If what? 10 points to the first answer. Only if what? Only if what? Who's going to get the 10 points? If the dollar shows exactly that. Yeah, there we go. Do we need to take the low if DXY shows strength and EU is selling off? Do we need to set low? What do you mean on GU? No, if we get the strength on dollar and dollar breaks the high, but this hasn't broken the low just yet, then no, I don't need to see the low of this because EU and dollar would have already broken. Yeah. What's ES on MT4 again? ES is US 500, my bro. Depending on the broker that you're with, but if you're with IC Markets, then yes, it's US 500, my brother. Quick look at USD CHF. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. I haven't looked at that thing in ages. I don't even know what's going on with the fundamentals on that thing right now. Um, but yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Right, so that's pound. That is pound. So let me just send this in the groups real quick. Let me check what's going on here. Okay, cool. So that's that. And that's that. Okay, cool. Sick. So, let's look at some indices, shall we? So, indices first. Let's see what's going on with the yields right now. What's going on with the yields? Okay, so we've seen that strength. So I want to see if we can come into the rate this high. Not just yet. Okay. What's going on with the 10-year? Accumulated as well. 30 years. Yeah, I just want to see some continued strength on this. Okay, well, 30-year is reaccumulated. So I need to see what price does when it gets in here. It's looking good. It's looking good. Yeah, so we can get something in here. That'll give me further confidence that the dollar can show us some strength. Uh, so here we go. Okay, cool. So indices. Let's look at the leader first. So to my understanding, the leader is ES and NQ, right? Because obviously they've both broken the high, and obviously US 30 hasn't just yet. So, I don't know what the whole of this is. Where are we at? So, okay. So we have effectively obviously created that not equal highs, the all-time highs. So to me, I want to see these get broken personally. If I don't see these get broken, there's nothing else to do, literally. Like, because I'm not going to buy up here. I just know that. I just don't really want to be buying this thing up here. I'll be so honest with you. So if we don't get a break of, some of these lows, um, there's just nothing to do. If I'm just going to be real with you, I don't really want to be buying it, like I said. So buys are kind of off the table for me, especially with everything that we're kind of seeing right now. Unless we start to see inflation start to make its way lower, which we haven't got a reading for until next week anyway. Um, there's not really much for me to do, I'll be honest. I know it's really a boring outlook on indices, but right now indices are being pretty boring, man. I'll be real. I don't know if anyone's looking at things a little different, but to me, we've just created this massive reaccumulation right now. So, so what I want to do is, yeah, potentially wait to see. Let me get rid of this now as well. Clear all of this out. Broke my heart, man. Broke my heart. I wasn't expecting these all-time highs just yet. I'll be so real with you. Was anyone else as irritated as I was seeing all-time highs get broken? I was like, man, fuck these indices, man. Sure, I mean, yeah, bro. I was burnt, bro. I was like, bro, what the hell is this? So yeah, I mean, obviously now, like, we are due a retracement, right? Obviously, I'm not looking for buyers, but this is going to be the area where target wise I'm going to be looking at um on indices. Now, why when I say target, a loose target right now. Why do I say loose? Because obviously, if we are going to see continued strength in the future, we're going to see it from here. So I'm going to be looking to get out around these sort of areas, right? But I also am aware that we could be seeing a larger distro potentially, right? It could be a long shot, could be a long shot, but we potentially could be seeing something like, because we technically have got, it's my previous retracement. Obviously, that's my change of character, right? Drives, manipulation, break, maybe a little something like that. I could maybe I'm being a bit optimistic here, but we could be seeing this as well. So either way, we're due a retracement, number one. Inflation is still elevated, number two. Um, Strait of Hormuz remains closed as of what, yesterday. Um, and we're due a retracement, if I haven't said that already. So we've got four reasons why sells are more in favor. The only thing that's making me a little bit more, the only con really right now is that earnings are higher. We're seeing stronger earnings, which is not, do you know what I mean? You've got four pros for selling, one con, you know? Well, technically we're at all-time highs as well. We've just created a reaccumulation. So I guess that's one as well. So for me, what I would need to see on here is as follows, right? So I would need to see, because this is not a reaccum. I'm pretty sure on that. Yeah, no, it's not. Ain't nothing in here. Okay, so I want to start to see. So like let's say for example let's say we get another reaccumulation, right? I want to see something like this. Maybe we get a distro, break that and re-distro. Then I'll start to maybe look at some sells, right? Because again, we're at all-time highs. So I need to see a distro and a re-distro before I think about thinking about getting into anything. I need to see the distro and the re-distro. If I don't see that, access denied, not getting into anything. Right? Is that clear to everybody? Is that clear to everybody? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Let me know. Um, my old breaking retest group were eating a whole chat popping off. What now? This week, you mean? Yeah, I mean, bro, yeah, you could be eating one week and then going against the fundamentals the next week and just getting toasted, bro. I saw that in my own trading previously. I was like, yeah, you know what? Nah. Oh, just for the day. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. One redistribution would be enough to consider taking a sell. So I need to see the distro, then the redistribution. Yeah. So a little bit of forex maths, if you will, right? Um, so where's my pen? Uh, where's my pen at? Oh, here we go. Cool. So an accumulation, right? Plus a reaccumulation. equals bullish market cycle, right? So yeah, anyway, I just randomly thought of something mad dirty when I saw this. I said, "Yo, bro. You can take, you can take the what? How does the saying go? You can take. Never mind. But I'm a big kid. Is basically what I was trying to say, right? So yeah, if we get an accumulation plus a reaccumulation, there's a bullish market cycle. So I can start looking at buyers on this. Same way, right? A distribution plus a redistribution equals a bearish market cycle. I only want to be selling in a bearish market cycle. I only want to be buying in a bullish market cycle if there's no point of interest, right? So if there's no point of interest to the left, which obviously in this case there isn't currently because we're at all-time highs, then I need to see a distro and I need to see a redistro after that. Does that make sense, my bro? Yeah, I'm never gonna, if we're at all-time highs, I'm never gonna be selling off of this, right? Why? Because I'm almost just like this could just turn into a reaccumulation and just keep going. So what I need to see is okay, we've got the distro. I need to see an accumulation form, try and push the market up, but sellers are so strong that wrong. And then bam, once we've got that, now I can start trying to take some sells off of this, not up here. Does that make sense, my bro? So you need to see two schematics, distro and a redistro. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, my bro. If not, then let me know. I'll clarify further. But um, but yeah. Fine, yeah, bro. Trust me. I'm just a big kid in it, you know. I'm just a big kid, bro. Give me a wife, give me a child, give me, you know, payments. I'm still gonna be a big kid, bro. I don't even care about none of that, man. Serious. So what's it called? But yeah, man. So that's what I want to see on here. I need to see a distro and redistro. If I don't see that, I'm not. Like, I'm happy to sit out again for another week on indices if it comes to that. You know, I'm not gonna go and break my rules just because I want to be in. So. Yeah, so ES, that's what I'm looking for in here. NQ, I'm going to be looking at pretty much the same if I'm being honest. Now on the buy side, ES and NQ are obviously um the leaders on the buy side, right? But I'm not trying to buy. So technically, I wasn't trying to remove all of that. So technically on the sell side, US 30 is obviously the leader, and I want to be selling. So if we see the weakness on US 30, then I'm going to be selling either an NQ or ES. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, let me know if that doesn't make sense. What was I trying to do on here? Oh, I was trying to draw this out as my reaccum. Lost my whole trade of thought just then. Reaccum and on here, reaccum as well. So so yeah, on the sell side, I'm going to be waiting for the weakness on US 30, i.e. YM, for me to obviously take the sells on Nasdaq and ES. If I don't see weakness on US 30, I'm not going to look at the other two, right? So where's my reaccumulation? Cool, here we go. So yeah, is anyone looking at indices any different? Has anyone got any different ideas for indices? Let me know, ladies and gents. Up here, where's my, yeah, so I need to see a little something like, maybe something like this. Break, give me the redistro. All right, in fact, let me clean this up a little, draw it a bit neater. All right, or we don't even, maybe we don't get the reaccum. Maybe we just break this as well, you know, break that, then give me the redistro. You know, so it could be one of the two. I don't really care which one, as long as we get the distro and redistro. I'm not, I don't, I'll play it. You know, it's not our job to think; it's our job to see. Is the market providing us with what we need to see? If it is, great, I'm going to get in. If not, then I'm gonna leave it alone. So up here, let's say we do get a reaccum. If we break and then print the redistro, then I'll play that. So either one of the two, I don't, like I said, I don't really care, to be honest, which one it's going to do. But what I do know is that I ain't trying to be buying this thing up just yet. I know that much. So so yeah, man. Right, questions. Can you say that again about US 30 is the weakness? Yeah, yeah. So basically what I was saying was that if we just zoom out real quick, right? Notice how if we just look at NASDAQ, notice how we've obviously created all-time highs, right? We obviously had a distro up here. There's my pen. We had a distro up here, had the shakeout, accumulation. We've obviously broken the high. If we look at ES, same thing, right? We had the distribution, shakeout, accumulation, broken the high. So we've got a reaccumulation. But if we look at US 30, we haven't broken the high just yet. So we have something called laggers and leaders, right? And essentially what that means is because these three companies, they have essentially a lot of the same larger companies in them. So, Nvidia, it's inside US 30, it's inside S&P 500, and it's also inside NASDAQ, right? So what we want to do is we're looking at because they all, what's the word? They are all chat, help me out here. What's the word? They move when they move and you correlating assets, that's what I was looking for. Right? So because they're correlating assets, one of them will be leading and the other two will be lagging. So we're looking for sells, and my target is this down here. NASDAQ and ES all the way up here, US 30s down here. So if they were all in a race, who's most likely to win? Most likely US 30 because it's closer to the target. So if we're looking for sells, this will get down to the target before these two will. So for on the sell side, US 30 is leading. So what I would like to see is I would like to see weakness on US 30, right? So when I say weakness, I mean we want to see large candles making their ways lower towards the target. If I see weakness on US 30, then that will give me the confidence to start looking for sells on ES and NQ that are all the way up here. Does that make a bit more sense, my bro? Yeah, yeah. They all move similarly. Yeah, yeah. So for me, obviously, that where we are still inside of supply on US 30, where we are still inside of supply on US 30, right? We are still in a bullish market cycle, technically, from this down here, right? So because of that, I ideally would like to see one of two things happening. Either A, give me the distro up here and start showing me weakness, right? Um, or if I say or, ideally, I would like to see this get broken, really. We can see a break of this, magnificent, right? And we see this thing continuing to sell off. I'll start looking at sells on ES and Nasdaq, right? If we don't see weakness, then no sells, basically. On US 30, we want to see cause and effects. Then we go to the other two, look for sells. Yeah, essentially, yeah. Yeah. So I want to see evidence of sellers coming in. And because we are still in a bullish market cycle, obviously being maintained from this here, I want to see this get broken because if not, and price does this, comes lower, comes into the reaccumulation and accumulates and goes higher, then that's not showing me that sellers are in control right now. It's not telling me that sellers are in. It's telling me the buyers are in, and I don't want to buy it, so it's just like I'd rather just wait. So so yeah, bro, that's what I'm going to be looking for personally. So once I see these lows get broken, great, we can start having a look at ES and NAS potentially if they are giving the redistros as well. If they're not, yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone. You could be cheeky and like let's say for example, we get the distro up here, we haven't broken supply, and then we redistribute. You could still take it technically down to the 50 and 80, depending on what the risk reward is. But if you want the safer option, just wait for the low to get broken. Just wait for the low to get broken. That's kind of what I'm going to be leaning more towards this week, personally. Is there any circumstances that are going to get me to look at buys this week? Probably not, if I'm being honest. You can't like if ES and NQ continue showing strength and we haven't broken the high just yet. Could you look at some buys down here? You could, but I don't know, man. I just don't really want to, if I'm being honest. my data tells me not to do it, so I'm probably just gonna leave it alone. You know, I find most times when I trade against the fundamentals, I just get spanked, bro. Do you know what I mean? I've seen it in the past, and I'm not really with the idea of doing it again personally. So so yeah, let me send you guys these charts though real quick. So that's US 30, it's US 30. Put this in here, and this in here. So that's YM, NQ, or ES, should I say? I want to see something similar. So I get rid of and this over here as well. Cool. So on this, come down to the 5 minute, look a little bit cleaner. What have I missed out? UK 100. I think it was looking nasty the other day. So I just came off of it, to be honest. I think it was looking horrendous. Uh, and last but not least, NQ. Very interested to see how the market opens as well, to be honest. Where we see them straight for moves get closed again, are we going to see a massive dump on these things, or let's see? I was seeing some people on, was it TikTok or Twitter, one of the two, talking about, oh yeah, we should start we need to start buying gold now, when the market opens. I was like, bro, did you not learn from the last time or what? Like, I don't understand. Boy, to each their own, you know? So cool. UK 100. UK 100. What are we looking at on here? Uh Nothing really. Same as what I was looking at last week. It looks like we might be building a distro in here, but we're still in a bullish market cycle being maintained from this in here. Right. So because of that, there's nothing to take right now, if I'm being honest. That's my reaccumulation. Obviously, you guys can see I've got my alert at this low. If we can break this low and obviously give the redistro, then great. If not, I'm in no hurry to do anything with this, if I'm being honest. So I guess yeah, it'll be a quiet one for UK 100 this week, unless we get that. Um, right, let me check the chat. Always the buy call. Yeah, bro, I don't understand what's going on, man. Honestly, these people, you'd have thought they learned the lesson by now after the last time, but boy. My dad used to say, what he used to say, if you don't listen, you'll feel, you know? So let them let the feeling begin. Do you know what I mean? Looks like it could give them a nip because it hasn't manipulated. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we could definitely, but I'm still not gonna be really that hungry to be buying like selling this just because of the fact that like even if we like let's say we give the manipulation, come into here and then we accumulate, go higher. Do you know what I mean? Like yeah. I'm just gonna be like, yo, what the hell is this? You know? So yeah, I think this is what I'm gonna be waiting for personally. Let me send this in the groups as well. Let me send this in the group as well. Okay, cool. So, is there a strong correlation between UK 100 US indices? Yeah, so right. So in the UK 100, a lot of the companies inside of UK 100 or the FTSE 100 um they receive a large amount of their revenue in the US, right? So outside of the UK. So because of that, we oftentimes will see they're linked, but I wouldn't say they're correlating, like not one-to-one correlating, if that makes sense, you know? So oftentimes you'll see when US 30, NASDAQ and ES are making their ways lower, usually a lot of the time you'll see that UK 100 is doing something similar because a lot of the companies in the FTSE 100 receive their revenue inside of the US, you know? So if US equities are selling off, a lot of the time you'll see UK 100 doing something similar. Does that make sense, my bro? Yeah. Um, so yeah, has anyone else got anything else they want me to look at? We can look at gold, silver. What have we got on here? Okay, so this was before. So we actually reaccumulated again. Yeah. Actually, no, let me put that back for a minute. Would come a little lower. But it looks like this is a distribution more than anything. Looks like this could be a distribution. You can have a look in here, I guess, but yeah, the highest probability area would be down here. If you can, we can squeeze into some little buys before price comes into supply. Then maybe, just maybe. But I'm also aware that, you know, we're approaching supply pretty soon. So we could definitely see a major sell-off on this, especially with what's been going on with the war and stuff. I think we may just see that. But if we can get an human here, maybe something like this, that would be the highest probability area to get in before price comes into supply. But again, if it doesn't, I'm not gonna be holding my breath here. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really that fussed about gold, if I'm being very honest with you guys. I don't really care. Like, yeah, I just don't really care about gold. It doesn't really provide that many entries anyway. So yeah. Um, lower time frame. Got your distro, got your shakeout, your Akeem. So you could still see something in here, but yeah, I'm gonna be very weary in here. If it prints out a clean Akeem, maybe. But from the way I'm looking at it, it's also looking like this could be the distro to bring us down deeper into this, or potentially even crash this whole reaccumulation and just continue sending this thing lower. So, what's going on with silver? Silver come into supply. It has come into supply. Interessante. So yeah, gold is slightly lagging behind in that regard. So yeah, silver. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised then, if anything, if we just get that sell off on gold, to be honest. Yeah, it's not really looking that clean, I'll be real. So I haven't really got too much to really look at on this, if I'm being honest. I'd rather just wait for the sell-off, to be very real with you guys. Who is this messaging me? Oh, damn. Hello. Someone should order a large amount of perfumes on a Sunday night. Okay, cool. So, anyone got anything else they want to check out? Someone's got someone had a chart for me earlier, right? Let me check this out. DXY. Um, distro. Distro, you say? Yeah, I wouldn't be looking for sales right now, fundamentally. Um, yeah, yeah. What I would say first things first, my bro, gotta zoom out, bro, because this is on the 1 hour, right? So, because just go back on the DXY real quick. Okay, so you're looking at this is a redistro, this is a redistro. Now, I could be very wrong here. We could come lower, but odds are against you, my bro. Why? Because fundamentally we're bullish right now, number one. Number two, right? If you zoom out, because you're I think on the 1 hour, right? So if you zoom out, then yeah, it looks as if we're having some distros and redistros. However, if you zoom out, even on a daily for a minute, what have we just reacted out of? 50%, or look on the weekly, it's a little bit clearer. Accum, reaccum, we're in the 50 right now of that previous larger reaccum. So higher time frame, we're in a bullish market cycle. We're in the 50% with fundamentals showing us bullishness. Don't really know. And then on top of that, bro, right? When we came into the 50%, right? If I just hover over, bro, it's so annoying, it doesn't let me go a bit further out. But yeah, if I just put a line on this for a minute, just put a line on this. Let's change it to the color red. Change it to the color red. Okay. So we're at the 50% of this thing right now. What did we do when we came in? We had one drive, two drives, three drives, a manipulation, and a break. And now we've come into the 50% of this accumulation. You want to sell in here? I don't know. I don't know. It's not looking really high probability, my bro. So what I'd say, my bro, is obviously like amazing job for even leaving a chart, bro, because I say most, a lot of people, they're not willing to, do you know what I'm saying? Like to put themselves in the face of discomfort. And you've done that, bro. Do you know what I mean? So, so yeah, man, like, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it in here personally. Um, so yeah. Uh, Okay, hold on. It said, what's another question? What's the best way to reach out to Kieran? I've been trying to contact him. Um, if you've got his number, maybe call him because I know Kieran's a busy guy as well, right? Uh, yeah, hit him on. Yeah, I'd say try call him. WhatsApp, Telegram, like on his actual personal Telegram. Uh, Instagram. If I didn't say that as well, yeah, I'll probably say those things to be honest. Yeah. Uh. How more times I was asking to trying to send some messages. Yeah, yeah. I'd say maybe yeah. Just keep hitting them. Yeah, just keep hitting them, bro. Sometimes you gotta be you gotta hit them a couple times. You know. Um. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'll say, my bro. But yeah. Has anyone else got any other questions? Any other concerns? Anything that they're looking at? By the way, EM, big up. Yeah, big up for sending that chart in. I'll just say, yeah, just two things. Just zoom out, number one, and remember your higher time frame market cycle as well. Yeah, because you're right now trying to sell inside of a larger demand zone, and oftentimes that can lead to you just yeah, just having a bunch of issues that you don't really want to experience, you know. But yeah, man. Any other questions for anyone else? Let me know. If not, then I got some grilled chicken waiting for me. So yeah, what's it called? Yeah, and by the way, this is not just chart related stuff, and just in regards to anything else. Like, if there's something that you're struggling with in your trading outside of technicals, or if it's fundamentals or psychology or anything, just like this again. Remember, these calls are for you guys' benefit. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, man. What's it called? All right, we got some Dutch going off in the chat. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, actually, oh Tom, you got a question, yeah? Talk to me, my brother. Talk to me, my good brother. What's the word, man? Uh, hold on. Okay, wanted to thank you for last call. I think asking myself why my diary has changed everything. Okay, you're most welcome, my brother. You're welcome. Yeah, man. Because, bro, do you know what it is, bro? Like, you have to remember, if you don't ask yourself why, a lot of the time, bro, you're going to be moving on autopilot. Like, bro, even for little things, bro, like sometimes, like as a mental exercise, when I'm having breakfast, okay, why am I having this for breakfast today? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to ask yourself all these questions. The more questions you ask yourself, the more you get down to, what your actual intention is. And the more you do that, do you see what I'm saying? You can improve that way. Do you see what I'm saying? But you don't improve without asking yourself questions. Do you see what I'm saying? And a lot of them. And sometimes you have to be willing to get uncomfortable in the pursuit of finding the answers that are going to help you move further and further into your journey. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, you're most welcome, my bro. Big up you. Thank you for asking the question, my bro. Do you know what I mean? Closed mouths don't get fed. You know that. So yeah, any questions that do come into mind, please feel free to ask them. Get more answers and more answers and more answers, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah, literally that keeps me aware of my goals too. Yeah, bro. Also, as well, on top of that, like, bro, write your goals down every day, bro. Every day. Like, I've got my, what's it called? I've seen the other room, I think. Oh, no, it's not. It's here, right here. I've got my daughter put all of her toys on top of it, but I've got my, I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Maybe you can. I've got this thing here. I write my goals and my thoughts, and just like daily stuff that goes on in my mind, things that I want to get to the bottom of, everything. Like I have it here every day in the morning and at night, and when I take it L in something, you know. Um, yeah, if I take it L in life, some regard, do you know what I mean? Like I'll what's it called? I'll write my goals down because do you know the most important part of writing your goals is not it's just like so it's in front of you all the time. Like, what's my target? Where am I going? Every day, where am I going? 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 The more you ask yourself where you're going, the more you're going to be on target to going to where you're going to be on track to going where you're going. I also do, I'll show you guys something else that I do, right? And I do this every week, every single week. Where is it? Not the pre-trading doc. It is uh documents. Is it on my? Oh, I know. I think it's on my phone files actually. I'll show you guys something. But this here, that bro. Ah man, I'm about to put you guys on, bro. And I'll send it to you guys as well. Here we go. I'll send it to my laptop now. Uh, here we go. By the way, in terms of the market outlook, we're mainly done now. So if anyone does have to shoot, then obviously by all means. But I do want to make sure that I show this to you guys as well. Um, why is my phone not? Okay, maybe I have to stop sharing for it to come up. Oh, there we go. Cool. Okay, sick. Right, let me start sharing again. Let me start sharing again. Got to run. Peace out. No problem, my bro. Take care of yourself, yeah. But yeah, this here, bro. Oh my word. I do this every single week, right? I've been doing it now for a little while. I want to say maybe like since February, since February. End of week roundup, right? So in the beginning of the week, so every Monday, I purposely I don't have any well, very few one-to-one calls because I like to take Monday to like like when you have bow and arrow, I like Monday to be my pull where I pull the bow and arrow back so that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday can just get launched properly, right? So in the beginning of my week, I'll write down like what my targets are, what my goals are, and what my targets are. Goals and targets are two different things. Goals are like your long term, okay, this is what I want for my life. Targets are what are the things I need to do every day, every month, every week to get to those targets, right? So I'll have a whole set of targets in the beginning of the week. So, be to, do a certain amount of TikTok lives, for example, to do a certain put a certain amount of content out. You guys, those of you that follow me on social media, you see I've been banging out content, bro. Do you know what I mean? So how many do I need to get done per day? Last week I had 22 pieces of content that I put out last week. This week it's well, by the time I finish today's stuff, it will be 2021. Not including my perfume company's content as well, by the way, right? So I'll put that as a target. How many times do I need to hit the gym this week? How many meals do I need to get in per day? So on and so forth. I'll put all of these things. And at the end of the week, well, the following Monday, before I do my next week's targets, did I hit my targets this week? The answer in here is either yes or no. Like there's no just shy or almost fuck all of that. Did you do it or not? Yes or no? I'm very harsh with myself because if I'm not harsh with me, who else is going to be? Do you know what I mean? Someone else might be, but if I'm not hard on me, I can't listen to anyone else when they're being hard on me. I'll start to go into myself like I'm a little coward or something. Do you know what I mean? And I ain't never been no coward, I'll tell you that much, right? So next thing, what are my biggest wins? Like, did I close a new client or a few bunch of clients, or did I catch a nice trade, or did I, organize something well? Did I do this? Did I hit a PB in the gym? All of my wins, I'm putting them in here. Where did I fall short? All of the goals and targets that I didn't hit, I'm putting them in here. Yeah. And I'm very, very, again, hard on myself. So even if I missed it by a little bit, I'm putting it in here. This is where I fell short. This is where I fell short. This is where I fell short. Everything I fell short with. So I can look at myself based on the results I'm getting and ask myself, am I really doing what I need to do? What did this week teach me? It taught me that, I get a bit distracted on my phone. It taught me that I like to leave things to the last minute. It taught me that, da, 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 you know what I'm saying? Like everything that you learned from that, you put it in here. And what needs to improve next week? I usually put it down to one thing. So really and truly, it should be what one thing needs to be improved next week. But I only put one thing in here because if it's more than one, it's like, bro, I'm trying to hit my goals. I'm trying to focus on one thing. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And I'm not Elastigirl. Do you know what I mean? I can't stretch everywhere, so yeah, man. Like these are the things I'll put in. But uh oh, you gotta go back to work. Yeah, bless up, man. Bless up. That one you say about your serious trader, but do you do this or that with Sarah? Yeah, bro. Like, bro, it's real raps, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, how much are you doing? You know? You can't call yourself a serious trader because you went to the gym at 6 a.m. and had a cold plunge. It's fucking nonsense, bro. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like, can I share this 100, bro? 100, I'll share it right now. I'll share it right now. I'll share it right now. Where is the document? It is. Oh, I have to save it new on the laptop. Okay, cool, that's fine. Save. End of week rounder. Boom. Cool. So, what I'll do, let me see if I can. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So I'll send this in here. There you go. Yeah, and I'll send it to the guys in here as well. Resources, tools and resources. Oh, here we go. There we go. Boom. Yeah. So yeah, man. But yeah, that's just a little something that I do to help with, just being more productive, man. Do you know what I mean? Getting my habits in line. So yeah, thanks for the call. Need to make a move. Good evening. Yeah, no problem, guys. Yeah, definitely gonna start doing this. No problem, my brother. I've got you guys. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday for Kieran's call as per usual. Wednesday, is that this week Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday I'll be back. I'll be here as normal. Then Sunday, yeah, it's next Wednesday that I'm not going to be around. It's my daughter's birthday, and I'm gonna surprise her with a little holiday. So what's it called? But off topic, but Power Book 3. I didn't even know it was that. I thought it was like September or something. Okay, now yeah, I got something to look forward to. I got a bunch of stuff to look forward to, man. I can't fucking wait, bro. But yeah, man. All right, then, guys. Cool. You guys take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys on Kieran's call Tuesday. And last but not least, remember to keep your heads on that what. Keep your head on that what, ladies and gents. Let me hear you guys say it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to see it on the chat. Keep your head on that what. Keep your head on that what. There we go. Yeah, make sure to keep your head on that bread. I'll see you guys soon. Yeah, take care. Bless. And you lot enjoy the rest of your Sunday as well. Yeah, take care.